Good evening. Welcome to Good News and Interviews with Forrest Lee. We have two special guests with us tonight. We have Miss Kitty Smothers and Mr. Jerry Johnson. They're with the Pike County Art Guild here in Troy, Alabama. And thank you for coming to the show and how this all started. Miss Kitty has a daughter, Lily Kate, who's on the Pike Liberal Arts Archery team. And that's how I met Miss Smothers, and her father, Mr. Benton, works right across the hall. He's an art teacher at Pike Liberal Arts. And art, let me go ahead and say, if I had to pick besides physical education, art was one of my favorite subjects at Goshen High School. I took it 2 years. And I use it just about every day or every week in some capacity. But I had Bob Lawrence was my art teacher as a ninth grader, and Miss Teresa Sanders was my art teacher as a sophomore. And I just loved it. Learned a little bit of calligraphy, and we did the little dipping in the well and drawing and all kind of stuff. Well, welcome to the show.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about the Pike County Art Guild, if you will. Tell us what year it was established.
Well, we first started thinking about setting it up about January 2020. Mm-hmm. And, I just had an idea. I've been painting portraits for, I guess, going on close to 25 years. And, a lot of that work I have always done alone and, working with a client. But I was thinking back to my days as when I was earning my BS in studio art here at Troy, and I really enjoyed being around other artists at that time. And one of my favorite things in our classes that we would do is have critique. So we would set up our artwork and we would get feedback, and suggestions from our art instructor and students. And I kind of missed being able to have that sense of community. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, January 2020 is when we kind of started thinking about it, and I started kind of talking to other artists.
Well, you mentioned Troy University. Where did you graduate high school?
I went to Pike County High.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went to Troy University, and you studied art?
Right, yes.
Now, you were speaking about your art instructors. Who were some of your art instructors at Troy University at the time?
Sergey Shillabeer was one of my instructors, and also Pam Allen, and she's also currently involved with the Pike County Art Guild. And my high school art teacher, who is also involved with the Art Guild, and her name is Sylvia Helms. A lot of people know Miss Sylvia.
Okay.
But those two were my college instructors, and she was high school.
But let me ask you this: where did you get your art ability or your magic dust from, I guess you'd say? It's in your blood probably, but I mean, where did you know, hey, I love this? How did that kind of start for you?
Well, for me, my dad is an artist, and my brother was an artist, and I can remember that Daddy had this big sketchbook when I was a kid. Now, he never drew or painted when I was a kid, but he had this old sketchbook, and it was filled with drawings of monsters and Willie Nelson. And us kids were we were okay to look through it, but we were not okay to mess around with it too much. Okay. But I can just remember that being an inspiration to me, and then just always having drawn. It may be the same for Jerry. I don't know if he started as a kid too. But.
Well, to me, and we'll go ahead and bring this out too, music is a form of art, and you sing as well. Mm-hmm. Okay. And where did that kind of start, your singing?
Well, that kind of came some from my dad too. Most people around in Pike County and Troy know my dad is a musician as well.
What's his first name?
Mike Benton.
Mike Benton, Mr. Mike.
Yeah, so I started singing in church like most people do, and then when I got to be about 12 or 14, I started learning to play the guitar and singing with my dad. So,
what church?
We went to Lighthouse Assembly of God, out in the middle of nowhere.
Where is nowhere?
Steele's Crossroads.
Okay.
That's where I'm from.
Now, where do y'all attend church now?
Now we go to Bush Baptist.
Bush Baptist, okay. Well, good. Well, we're going to come back to that a little bit. Let's go ahead and talk with Mr. Jerry Johnson. And I met Mr. Jerry through Charles Henson Middle School, your children, Aaron and Nikki. Is Nikki the oldest?
She is.
Nikki
yeah.
and then Aaron were, and I taught them the physical education. Right. And that's where I met you. And your wife, Lana, I met her there as well. And then she was involved in the physical education program at Troy University. I think she did her internship maybe at our school
She probably
under,
did, yes.
under another teacher. But how did you, let's get a brief sketch of your biographical background.
Well, like as you said, Nikki and Aaron, our children, were in middle school when we moved to Troy in the year 2000. And Lana had a secretary's degree. She actually went back to school when we came to Troy and got her physical education. She got her master's, and she's taught at a few schools around. Now she teaches at Troy University as a lecturer in the kinesiology department. And our roots are from Oklahoma. You know, we grew up in rural Oklahoma. She lived in the Panhandle. I lived in a little bit bigger place near Oklahoma City. It was Yukon, a suburb of Oklahoma City.
Yukon?
Uh-huh.
Well, I've been to Lawton.
Yeah, that's south. A lot
Very
of people
windy.
have been to Lawton, especially if they were military. My dad was military. I was born in an Air Force base. Dad was career Air Force. He was a sergeant, a chief master sergeant. And you were asking her about where she got the inspiration and the talent. My dad was really a cartoonist. I mean, I got to tell you, my dad didn't really have a strong sense of humor because he was a very serious man. But if you look through these little journals and notebooks, ever since he was in the Korean War and the World War II, the goofy characters, I mean, they look like...
Do you still have them?
I've got some copies of some of
Okay.
his drawings.
Okay.
They look kind of like... I can't even remember the name. Sten and... Oh, I can't remember his cars.
Okay.
They're like lightning bolts for their neck, and
Okay.
you know, and their legs will be like razor blades. It's just weird stuff, and that's not my dad. But I would try to emulate that. But I could tell when I was really early, I had a certain amount of talent. But I do think art can be taught. At least you can get greatly improved, and people that maybe don't have that natural ability can get a greater understanding of space and line and composition and all of those elements of art. But when I came to Troy, I was a chair of the art department at Troy University, and did that for about 10 years. Then Lana and I moved to Miami, and I was a chair of a department down there. And then we came back, and we were both professors and teachers here, and we have loved it. We've loved Troy. It's become home to us.
Now, what high school did you attend? What college? And what degree did you receive?
Okay, high school was Hydro High School. It's about the size of Brundage, probably.
Okay.
We had no art, had no band. Like Amanda, I was musical too. I was in a band for about 10 years, and we traveled and played, and so there's kind of a parallel there.
Was Larry in that band?
Larry, who's a
Mercy.
ceramics instructor, art education
Taught
person,
his
he was a
youngest
drummer.
too, yeah.
Yeah. Small world. In fact, he was teaching in Kansas when I moved here. We had a position open for a ceramics/art education person, and he fit the bill, but I knew he wasn't looking for a job. He just had his MFA from the University of Kansas, and he was going to Disney World. They popped in one and said they could spend the night. And I said, you might as well fill out this application while you're here. And he thought he was joking. They went home and prayed about it, and thought about it. And before long, he got the position. He earned it. It wasn't because of me. But so, yeah, that's made the world a lot smaller for us because we hadn't been around him for like 17 years.
Yeah. So this was in the band. So you went to what college again?
I went to Southwestern Oklahoma State for
Okay.
undergraduate. Then I got a master's there, master's in art education. Then I taught at Oklahoma State University as a temporary instructor to fill in the gap for somebody who left. And then I fell in love with teaching. I went to Louisiana Tech and got my MFA, which is a terminal degree in art and graphic design.
What does MFA mean?
You know, you can get a PhD
Okay.
in like art history or
Okay.
people, things that have a literary basis and certain kinds of research. But a terminal degree for some performances like theater or graphic design or fine art, oftentimes there's not very many doctors. There's a couple places that offer doctorates in those areas. But it's an MFA. It's like a master's times 2,
Okay.
and you do a thesis.
Now, what would be your forte as far as the art field? Is there a specialty or
Well,
specialties?
I've always drawn in watercolor, but when I became a career person at it, it was graphic design. And then in the 80s, I get into the computer. So really the last 15 years or so, I've been teaching web design and graphic design, branding, designing logos and identity and advertising. And yeah, pretty much. But my first love, I think for most of the people of us in the creative fields, we liked drawing and painting, the fine art. So when I retired, I really wanted to get back to the studio and make some art.
Well, let's go back to Larry Percy real quick. When I taught his kids, I knew they lived on Spradley Drive at the time. And my daughter was little at the time, and is his wife Annie?
Yes.
So they invited us, hey, just bring her swimming. So we would swim at the Percy's.
Yeah.
And of course, their home was just so beautifully decorated with art work.
Right.
And so that's how I met Mr. I've been to their home where they live. Now I know they live off of Elm Street.
Right.
And that's a unique setting
Right.
in his studios. And he's a gardener, and I'm a gardener. I try to be. But well, that's fantastic. Well, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to specifically talk a little bit more about the Pike County Art Guild. We'll be back after these messages.
Want a new Ram or Jeep? Bring it. But you have no credit or bad credit? Bring it. We say yes. Bring it to Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Troy. Right now, save up to $10,000 on Rams and Grand Cherokees. Shop PremierTroy.com. During our Bring It sale. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Over the past 2 years, America has gone through some trying times, and Alabama has seen its share of disappointments. As labor unions on strike for fair wages and better working environments, rising prices, closing of small businesses, mandates, and even essential workers being threatened and even terminated after sacrificing so much during the pandemic. All of these things and more has left Alabamians to wonder how and who will lead us in bringing Alabama back. Join us as the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, Local Lodge 2003 of Delaware, Alabama, as the Legislative Committee presents the States at the Gate 2, a political platform for the 2022 Alabama primaries. Please join us on Saturday, April 23rd at 12 p.m. at the Union Hall, located 345 Highway 84, Delaware, Alabama. This event is free to the public. So show up, be heard, and then be counted.
Brundage Building Supply and Paint Center at Jackson Hardware. 120 years and counting of real customer service with a smile and a heartfelt thank you for visiting with us. PPE, lumber, paint, building supply and roofing, guns, ammunition, American-made items, and oh, by the way, hardware.
If you've had an accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Now that shows we stand behind our work. And our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back live on Good News and Interviews with Forrest Tree. Just a special note, this Friday and Saturday at Pike Liberal Arts School, in the cafeteria, we have a 3D archery tournament coming up. It will be April the 22nd and 23rd, Friday and Saturday. It's a $10 entry fee. will be, there's 3 arrows per animal. You'll shoot a total of 24 arrows at 8 different targets. We have a deer, a sheep, a bear, a coyote, that is a mule sheep, a turkey, a pronghorn sheep, and a bobcat. And it's open to anybody. We have bows that you can use. Of course, we'll have the arrows, but due to safety and not to damage our targets, we ask that you use our bow and our equipment. And that is this Friday and Saturday. We have flights at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 7 o'clock on Friday. And Saturday morning we have flights at 9, 10, and 11. And per flight we can have about 24 archers at one time. So if you will, spread the good news about the 3D archery tournament this week at Pike Liberal Arts in the cafeteria. We have Miss Kitty Smothers and Mr. Jerry Johnson. They're members of the Pike County Art Guild. They are both have an artistic background. Mr. Jerry is an art instructor at Troy University, and Miss Kitty's a pretty good artist. And what is your role at Troy University, Miss Kitty?
I've been at Troy for 21 years. I've mostly worked in online education. I'm currently in IT, and then I teach undergraduate psychology online.
Okay. So what is the purpose of the Pike County Art Guild?
The purpose of the Art Guild is just to kind of bring together the visual arts community. We have such a wealth of artists in Pike County. And, you know, we've got people from all different backgrounds and age groups. And the Pike County Art Guild is just a way to get those people together, to fellowship, to share ideas, to support one another, to learn from each other. So it's just a really good community that we've set up. And we've had a lot of great experiences with people from all over.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mr. Jerry, there's a studio just off the square in downtown Troy, and that's called Sienna Cloud.
Sienna Cloud.
And what?
Well, Sienna Cloud, that name, by the way, came from sienna. Is kind of a burnt orange, rusty color. And I grew up in western Oklahoma, and I'll never forget when I was carrying my big canvases to art class, and here comes this big dust storm.
Oh, yeah.
We would frequently have these dust storms where everything turns red. And so part of my heritage is just that little grit, dirt, dust, Sienna Cloud. And it just comes rolling in, sometimes unexpected, and it covers everything. I think of creativity kind of like that kind of a storm, that is sometimes messy. And if you just kind of roll with it, you know, and afterward, maybe you're cleaning the dusting it off a little bit. And when things settle, you're going to learn something. You may even get something beautiful out of it. But I set up a studio prepared for when I would retire from Troy University, which I did a couple years ago. Bought this building, have renovated it. And I met Amanda at church, and we had a conversation about this art guild or some kind of club. And we said, well, let's just start meeting and see who wants to meet. And probably we've had a total of about 30 to 35 different people who come to our different meetings and workshops. But our original membership, we just started recently, and we kind of elected a board. We decided we're going to go ahead and formalize this and make it an actual organization with a bank account and trying to get nonprofit status. We just did that recently. We've got 14 kind of charter members, if you want to say. But all of these members, from no matter how old or how young they are, some of them are trained, some of them are very untrained, but it's not about that. It's really about just a community of makers and creatives that want to get together, and sometimes we just bring our latest thing we're working on. Maybe it's incomplete, and those are kind of exciting conversations. We get input from each other. I learn a lot from those people that maybe have never had an art class in their life, and hopefully they'll gain something from me, and it's just been a great start.
Who are some of your board members? Can we name them, or some of your charter members?
Yeah, well, our president, Your Highness, is right here, Kitty, and Amanda Trawick is the vice president.
Who's that name?
Amanda Trawick.
Is she
Lene is
Kitty
her
Lene?
artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, his daughter.
Yep.
Yeah.
I went to school with Amanda.
Awesome artist. You've got to
Lene's
check out her work.
A supporter of our program here. He's a sponsor. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lenny.
Yeah.
I met him through the National
Yeah.
Guard.
Good. Very good.
The lefty.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Pamela Sutton.
Pamela Sutton is our secretary treasurer. We're She really likes to do treasurer or secretary more than treasurer, but
Okay.
she's sticking to it until we find a treasurer.
Okay.
Then I'm the communications person, so I kind of help drive some promotions and stuff through social media and websites and so forth.
I remember as a kid, the Jean Lake Festival was
Mhm.
big. I think she was a local artist, and I met Miss Casey. What was her name? Bud Casey's wife.
Yeah, Mary
Ann
Ann.
Casey.
Miss Casey,
Mhm.
and of course, I was as a teacher. I was around Day Barnes,
Mhm.
Jennifer Sullivan,
Mhm.
Jennifer Lindsay,
Mhm.
and Abby. When she was in high school, she had Ms. Walden, Miss. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
there
think.
is not Christina.
Ms. Walden, Carrie Walden.
Charlotte. Is it Charlotte Stokes Walden?
That may be it.
I think it's.
And
Yeah.
but art, and she loved art, and she does photography. Abby's a photographer, so that's
Yeah.
in the artistic
Yeah.
realm.
Yeah.
And do y'all have a certain the Troy Fest is this Friday and Saturday, and in your studio it will be open.
Well, it was really important to us. We don't want to take away from Troy Fest
Sure.
at all. In fact, I went ahead and said, Cloud, I made this formally kind of a sponsor for Troy Fest, even though it's at a merit level, but maybe we'll be bigger next year. But Troy Fest is the celebration of the arts for Pike County and Troy in this region, so we don't want to take away from that. But we do want to join in with it, because not everyone has a whole booth full of artwork. I certainly don't, and I've been trying to get, work, but I might paint 5 and I might sell 3 or 4. And so I slowly get, a little bit of a repertoire going on, but not much. So we're going to have that. There may be even a couple of our members that are actually showing in the show of the booth. I'm not sure. But yeah, we just want to overlap the Troy Fest, but our exhibit is at Sienna Cloud Studio, which is 113 North 3 Notch Street. It's right between H&R Block and then Christy Drinkwater's studio, Make Art Troy. So it's we call that the Creative Corner. So right there, and it's just down the street from the Johnson Center. So from the outside, it looks what it was before. It used to be a law office.
Okay.
But now I've redone it, repainted
Is it across
the
the
front.
street, or is it on the same side of the street?
Same side of the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but if you come in, we're going to be open at 2:00 the Friday before Troy Fest.
Okay.
We'll be open through Troy Fest, but we're going to stay open. We're going to post the hours. Part of the hours are going to have to be with some people sitting through it on a volunteer basis, because we don't have income per se. But it's a fundraiser. 20% of the proceeds of the sales of the work will go to the Pike County Art Guild,
Okay.
and then the artist gets the other 80%.
Okay.
But I've set up the show. I've been hanging it the last 2 or 3 days. The lights are pointed. I'm getting the title cards printed. It's really stunning. I hope some people will come in and check it out.
So now, do y'all have like seminars or workshops planned with youth, or do y'all do any of that, or is this?
We don't focus typically on youth, only
Okay.
because right next door is Christy's studio,
Yes.
and she's got
world
just
of things for
a lot of, and she's good at that. I'm sure Kitty could do that, and some others. We are going to do some workshops that youth can attend for sure, but so far it's just been for those practitioners in the area who just want to come and either draw still life, draw from a portrait to paint, or like we're going to do a 3-dimensional paper mache workshop coming up here in a few weeks. There's some other workshops coming up too.
Now, Miss Christie, this was probably 6 or 8 years ago when I was at Troy Elementary School. One summer, there was a workshop that you could attend, and it was through the Johnson Center. Miss Drinkwater and several of the 6th grade teachers. It was like a 1-week art project, or you learned art. And there was a gentleman from the Barber County area or Bullitt County. I cannot remember his name, but his paintings were in the Johnson Center, but he was one of the artists that taught us watercolor.
Okay.
And he does rustic, like cabins and things. I cannot think of his name right now, but I just loved it.
Yeah.
Any kind of artsy stuff.
Well, some of these other art teachers, like Day Barnes, you mentioned, Jennifer Lindsay, there's several art teachers. There's some that came from Andalusia that have come up and just, maybe they're not all in with us yet because we haven't been that formalized, but they're really been supportive of coming to like the drawing sessions and the critiques.
There was one within a year or two. There were like different artists scattered throughout the square, and wherever they were, they drew that part.
Yeah.
They painted that part of the square.
Plein air painting.
Yeah.
I think if you come to the show, you'll see one or two of those actually
Yes.
in the exhibit. I know
Okay.
Sylvia Helms did one, and
Yeah.
she told me that this view is a view that most people, everybody does, I guess the old bank or
The tower.
Water
the tower,
Yeah.
that view, or maybe the other side, where the Fuse Coffee is now, that, that side of the street on the west. But on the south side of the square, very few people pay attention to it. She did a really beautiful kind of a walkway perspective. So I think people should check that out.
You said y'all were talking in church. What church do y'all attend? Was that
Bush Baptist.
Bush Baptist.
Bush Baptist,
Yeah.
and that's on George Wallace Drive.
Mhm.
Okay. So the Troy Fest is this weekend. It starts Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Will it start actually Friday or Saturday and Sunday?
Friday.
Yeah.
It starts Friday.
Friday evening,
They'll
yeah.
start closing the square down. So
Yeah.
if you want to eat downtown Troy, you gotta. So to get to the studio of Sienna Cloud, if you Birds Drugs is on your right, you keep walking. Douglas Brothers is on your right. Well, Flat Tops and Fiddles on your right. Douglas Brothers is on your right.
Right.
Then Francesca's is on your right. Take a right, walk down
that
the street.
sidewalk, like you're walking to the Methodist Church, First United Methodist.
Right.
If you walk to that, you'll see us right after H&R Block. So if you paid your taxes, just go and then come on in. Spend your refund in here.
So after Troy Fest, y'all will still be open at certain hours where people can come in
Yes.
and look
Yeah.
at some of the artwork that the local artists have.
And buy some of it.
And buy some of it.
Yeah. And if you're not looking to buy, I mean, come on in. And we're also trying to get some of the 14 charter members to contribute like sketches out of their sketchbooks, small things that maybe be, $20 or $15 or whatever, just to kind of get every price range.
I would love to see your dad's.
Well, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. I've
I
got-
promise you'd look at them and go, now, he fought wars for us?
But there's a student in my class. He's an 8th grader, Tristan Mitchell, and he's very attentive. He's got super grades, but he'll come up to me, Coach, and he draws. It's like this men in shields and masks, and got elaborate drawings all over their arms, and it's unbelievable. What he just does.
Yeah.
He's not looking at something and drawing it. He's drawing it just from
Yeah.
what he's
Yeah.
seen or
A lot of us were
played or
kids
whatever.
like that. Yeah.
I've got to tell myself. Of course, when I retired, I would get my Lee he shed, not my she shed, but I call it my Lee he shed. And I posted a video, and I talked about Bob Lawrence, Teresa Sanders, my art teachers at Goshen. And I've been around Roy Farmer at Goshen. He's a good artist. Bart Snyder. We go to church together. He's a pretty
Phenomenal artist,
pretty
yeah.
good artist. And Roy and I are fraternity brothers, but he's a super artist. And then I mentioned on my video that I've been around fabulous artists. And I named Dave Barnes, Jennifer Sullivan, Jennifer Lindsay, and on and on. And I've always wanted to continue my artistic ability after I retired, and I've always wanted to do a self-portrait. So I'm talking to my phone. It's like my phone, but have you ever seen the sketch of a dog doing a self-portrait? It was in a magazine years ago, but it's a Chihuahua doing a self-portrait, and he's looking in a mirror, but he's actually drawing a German Shepherd. You ever seen that before?
No, I haven't. But
Well, there's a Chihuahua, or it might be an ugly bulldog. I can't remember. But this dog is drawing a self-portrait, looking at the mirror, but on the canvas, it's a German Shepherd. Well, I said, I'm about through with my. Well, I am through. This is a surprise for Jody. So I turn it around, and it's a picture of Elvis. And it was kind of in conjunction with, so anyway, I did it for a joke, but all seriously, Pike County and Troy City Schools, we're just fortunate of the art that our youth are exposed to,
Yeah.
from the get-go. And we're blessed in Troy City Schools and at Pike Liberal Arts. And does Pike County Schools, Goshen and Pike County High,
Yeah, I'm
do
pretty
they
sure
still
that
have
they
it?
do.
I think they do.
Yeah.
And that's just unbelievable. And when I was in school at Goshen, the brothers from Brundage,
Godwin.
the Godwin brothers, there was a federal grant or whatever. They went to different schools and did artwork. Well, one of the projects was, if you see it in front of Charles Simpson High School, some of the artwork in Brundage, the Cattleman's Complex, there was a bumper there was an eagle made out of bumpers at our school at Goshen High School that they
Right.
put together. And it looked like an eagle on a perch.
Yeah.
Well, somehow or another, it got bumped by a truck, a repair truck, and it toppled over. Well, the Godwins came and got it and was going to repair it. They took it to the shop, and this is the story I got from one of the Godwin brothers. He had to leave, and he was doing a project or a what do you call it when you get hired to do something?
commission.
He was doing a commission somewhere far off from Alabama, and he told his folks, just clean up around the shed a little bit. They had, when he got back, they had scrapped that
Oh,
eagle,
no.
and it was a good 10 to 16, 18 foot tall.
My goodness.
So that bumper is gone
Yeah.
of an eagle. Another fella in Goshen, is it Ross? What's the fella that does signs and elaborate artwork? He does signs. I think his
The
last name-
block wire manufacturing
Yeah.
guy?
Is that a Mr. Ross?
Jay.
What is his
I
last
can't remember his last name, but we've done some work with him.
Yeah. And, that's
One of our guild members works for him. Jamal Holmes works
Okay.
for him. Just recently got hired.
Well, this is the Pike County Art Guild. This is Miss Kitty Smothers and Mr. Jerry Johnson. Our show will be replayed Wednesday nights from 9 o'clock at night till 10, and you can see it then. Any other facts about the Art Guild that we can discuss that y'all would
One
like
thing I would like to invite, if you're in the Pike County area and you're an artist, a craftsman, like Kitty's brother draws on guitars. I mean, it could be anything creative. You've got a creative spirit and just a desire to make things. Check us out. I mean, there's no judgment in what we do. We don't critique unless somebody asks for one. And the idea is just to get inspired by one another. So I welcome not only people to come to the show, but people to also be a part of the Art Guild. If you think this is something you'd like to do in your spare time, periodically come join us for some joint inspiration.
Do y'all have a website?
We do. It's
Okay.
It's www.pikecountyartguild.com. So pretty simple. You can find us there, and you can also find us on Facebook.
Okay, Pike County Art Guild, and you just click that in, and your contact information will be
Yep.
there.
It'll be there.
But we certainly thank you for coming on the show, and I'm trying to think if there's something else I wanted to ask you, but I'm just,
You just need to come join us one night at one of our sessions.
I will. And if you see me dusting off and scratching, let me just tell you where I was. I went to Rutledge, Alabama, in Crenshaw County, and this will come on as a show hopefully next week. There are two brothers. They're Sippers, the Sipper brothers, and they operate out of their old home place that was built in the early 1900s. One, his name is Tommy, one is K.O., and their brother Bob was there. I've got it written on my hand. But one builds swings, and the other one builds homemade guitars.
Unbelievable.
He ordered a old, damaged dobro and got it in, and he has self-taught himself. He has made 33, he calls them K-bro, or Sipros, not a dobro.
Right.
He calls them Sipros, but it's a unique 6-string dobro, and I mean,
How cool is that?
and it's just the intricacies, the work is just unbelievable. And I've got that information from Tori Browder Peacock messaged me, and I called Lisa Rowley her dad is one of the sippers, and so that's how I got the information about it. And that is some unbelievable artwork that he puts into a homemade guitar, and it's artwork building the swings out of rough wood, smooths it down, and we went on site and filmed how he does it. Now, he didn't actually bend the wood and all that, but showed us all the instruments. It's self-taught.
Wow.
Fantastic.
But anyway, well, thank y'all for coming, and
Thank you.
anytime you would like to come back, you're more than welcome to come. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been Miss Kitty Smothers and Mr. Jerry Johnson. They're both members of the newly formed Pike County Art Guild here in Troy, Alabama. They're located right off of North 39th Street. The studio is called Sienna Cloud. It'll be open this Friday at 2 o'clock. It'll be open till later on that evening, and they'll be open Saturday as well.
Yes.
And Sunday during the Troy Arts Fest. And it's, again, the guild is kind of for artists to come in and
Fellowship and learn from one another.
And learn from one another. But and you can get in touch with them by going to either Facebook or what's the other means? Type in Google Pike County Art
PikeCountyArtGuild.com,
and you can get your information there. Well, thank y'all for coming, and y'all have a good day. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after these messages.
Want a new Ram or Jeep? Bring it. But you have no credit or bad credit? Bring it. We say yes. Bring it to Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Troy. Right now, save up to $10,000 on Rams and Grand Cherokee. Shop PremierTroy.com. During our Bring It sale. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Over the past 2 years, America has gone through some trying times, and Alabama has seen its share of disappointments. As labor unions on strike for fair wages and better working environments, rising prices, closing of small businesses, mandates, and even essential workers being threatened and even terminated after sacrificing so much during the pandemic. All of these things and more has left Alabamians to wonder how and who will lead us in bringing Alabama back. Join us as the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, Local Lodge 2003 of Delaware, Alabama, as the Legislative Committee presents the States at the Gate 2, a political platform for the 2022 Alabama primaries. Please join us on Saturday, April 23rd at 12 p.m. at the Union Hall, located 345 Highway 84, Delaware, Alabama. This event is free to the public. So show up, be heard, and then be counted.
Brundage Building Supply and Paint Center at Jackson Hardware. 120 years and counting of real customer service with a smile and a heartfelt thank you for visiting with us. PPE, lumber, paint, building supply and roofing, guns, ammunition, American-made items, and oh, by the way, hardware.
If you've had an accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Now that shows we stand behind our work. And our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a parting gift for being on the show of Good News and Interviews with Forrest Tree League, certainly want to thank Mr. Jerry and Miss Kitty for being on the show. And as a parting gift, one of our sponsors is the Pike Farmers Co-op. They have 2 locations, one in Goshen, Alabama, my hometown, one in Troy, Alabama. But they sell these honey roasted peanuts. They sell, there's a butter toffee, and they sell roasted salted peanuts along with raw peanuts. Of course, you can get all your feed and seed and all your items that you need for your farm or garden there. But this is a gift for you, Miss Kitty. Thank you for coming on the show. If you will, pass that to Mr. Jerry. And
Wonderful, thank
or
you.
y'all swap whichever one you want.
Yeah.
And that's just a little gift for being on the show. And
We'll split and mix them up.
you probably
Make
do
it
that. But again, thank y'all for coming, and come anytime.
Thank you.
Y'all
I
have a good
appreciate
night.
it.
And they're just going to exit left while we're still live. And again, thank y'all for coming. And again, this show, you can see the repeat or the replay of this show on Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock till 10. And next week's show, we hope to feature Tommy and K.O. Sipper. They live at Sipper Hill in Crenshaw County, in the town just past the town of Rutledge. I met their brother Bob, their daughter Lisa Rowling, and her husband. But the Sipper brothers, they make, K.O. makes homemade swings, and I got to run a sawmill this afternoon. And I've got sawdust in my hair and everywhere, but I cut up about 3 or 4 slices of pine lumber, and then he talked about his swings that he sells. You can buy swings from him, but his brother Tommy makes homemade guitars. They call them Cipros. It's kind of like a dobro, but he makes homemade guitars, and the other brother makes homemade swings. So next week, you got a treat watching that show. And last week on the show, we had members of the Pike Liberal Arts archery team, and it featured our results from the state tournament that was held in Montgomery about a couple of weeks ago, and we were very excited. We finished 5th out of 42 teams in the state of Alabama, and we're real excited about the future of our program. With that said, Nate, if you can, show some of those highlights. We have an 3D archery tournament coming up this Friday and Saturday. It is at Pike Liberal Arts Cafeteria here in Troy, Alabama. It'll be April the 22nd and 23rd, a Friday and Saturday. It's a $10 entry fee. And Nate, if you could pull that up for me on the screen. There we go. But the flight time's Friday, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 7 o'clock. It'll take you about 35 minutes, maybe 40 to shoot in the tournament. We have award categories for male and female in the 4th and 5th grade division, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade division, the 9th through 12th grade division, and we have an open division for anybody outside of the high school area. We have bows that your archers can use if needed. We ask that you use our Genesis bows because the bows that you have, if you're a hunter, for safety and for the care of the 3D animals, we ask that you use our Genesis bow. You'll have 8 targets, 3 arrows per target for a total of 24 arrows. The entry fee is $10. If you need to write a check, make it out to PLAS. You can call Forrest Lee at 268-0738. That's myself. Or you can email me at flee@pikelib.com to solidify your flight time. We'll be shooting at deer, a goat, bear, coyote, ram, a turkey, a pronghorn sheep, and a bobcat. Those are the 8 targets that you'll shoot at, and this is what your scoring sheet will look like. Scoring rings of 10, 9, and 8. Anything outside the 8 ring will be a 7, worth 7 points. Any arrow in the deer, goat, ram, sheep, or antelope, or the stump of the turkey, if you shoot it in their head area or in the antlers, you will get a score of 0. If an arrow dissects 2 lines, you go with the upper line. And this is the picture of the pronghorn sheep there that you see on the screen. And that's a little bit about our 3D tournament this Friday and Saturday at Pike Liberal Arts. At this time, I'd like to talk about some of our sponsors, and we'll take a short break in just a few minutes. But first of all, I want to thank Troy Paint and Body, Dawn and Derek Broadway, for their sponsorship. They're located on South Brundage Street. Chimney Hot Sauces, go to www.chimneysauce.com to order some hot sauces. This is what you see right here on the set. Pike Farmers Co-op, they're located in Goshen in Troy, Alabama. At Goshen, their number is 484-3411. In Troy, the number is 566-1834. I want to thank Jeffrey Barron, he's the manager here in Troy, and Danny Durrell in Goshen. Jason Gregory of Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Troy, I want to thank him for being a sponsor. He's located on US 231 North, just past Kentucky Fried Chicken. Golden Boy, located on the Henderson Highway. They manufacture peanut butter for a lot of major companies. You have Pond Stocker 2 for all your pond stocking needs. You can stock ponds. They have bait or tackle that you can buy. They also have a device called the Pond Buddy. It's a fertilizing device that you can put in your pond. You put fertilizer in there, and it will periodically fertilize your pond or lake. That you can contact Jim Mullis at 403-2582 or Jet Trotter at 672-2314. That's Pond Stocker 2. Campbell's Produce will be opening up pretty soon. I want to thank Diane and Mr. Buck for being a sponsor. Kelly Tires for all my tire needs, and anything else I see. Rex Grant and his wife Nell, located on Love Street. Southern Grill and Patio, located on 600 North Street. Their number is 770-0575. See Chase and Daniel or the Hartley family there. Also in the news, coming soon, they'll be moving to the Troy Messenger location, and I believe the Troy Messenger is moving downtown Troy. But of course, at Southern Grill and Patio, you can pick up Bordeaux steak sauces. They're made from natural ingredients. Mr. Bordeaux was on our show a few months ago. It's some great tasting sauces that you can put on your steak, shrimp, or chicken. Another sponsor is Cott and Chip Wallace of Wallace Pump and Supply, located on US 231 South, for all your needs as it relates to plumbing, sinks, commodes, you name it, sprinkler systems. Go see the Wallace Brothers, located on US 231 South, going toward Brundage. Their number is 735-2338. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back after these messages.
Want a new Ram or Jeep? Bring it. But you have no credit or bad credit? Bring it. We say yes. Bring it to Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Troy. Right save up to $10,000 on Rams and Grand Cherokee. Shop PremierTroy.com during our Bring It sale. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Over the past 2 years, America has gone through some trying times, and Alabama has seen its share of disappointments. As labor unions on strike for fair wages and better working environments, rising prices, closing of small businesses, mandates, and even essential workers being threatened and even terminated after sacrificing so much during the pandemic. All of these things and more has left Alabamians to wonder how and who will lead us in bringing Alabama back. Join us as the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, Local Lodge 2003 of Delville, Alabama, as the Legislative Committee presents The States at the Gate 2, a political platform for the 2022 Alabama primaries. Please join us on Saturday, April 23rd at 12 p.m. at the Union Hall, located 345 Highway 84, Delville, Alabama. This event is free to the public. So show up, be heard, and then be counted.
Brundage Building Supply and Paint Center at Jackson Hardware. 120 years and counting of real customer service with a smile and a heartfelt thank you for visiting with us. PPE, lumber, paint, building supply and roofing, guns, ammunition, American-made items, and oh, by the way, hardware.
If you've had an accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Now that shows we stand behind our work. And our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's hat time here on Good News Interviews with Forrest Lee. I've already mentioned Southern Grill and Patio, but they sell the Big Green Egg out there and other type of grills. It's the same building where you see Town and Country Flooring, but I want to thank them again. Also, I've already mentioned Kelly Tires, 566-1430. Kelly Tires, great place to get all your tire needs. And the Home Gallery. It's located on Love Street. The owners are Sherry and David Helms, and their number is 670-0047. I want to thank them for being a sponsor. And if you see David Helms, ask him about olives, Mountain Dews, and Dr. Peppers. Also, stopped by and saw Mr. Kevin Flowers today. I saw Miss Billy Ann too. But Flowers Realty, Billy Ann and Kevin, they'll put flowers in your yard for all your real estate needs or apartment needs. Call Kevin and Billy Ann Flowers at 635-2043. Also, would like to mention Douglas Brothers, located on the square. They've been in business for 150 years. Mr. Sheer Qualls, I want to thank them for being a sponsor. Their number is 566-1867. Bird's Drugs, my favorite place to eat breakfast. I want to thank Joe Watson for being a sponsor and his Deli Girls. Thank you for what you do. And of course, Whaley Pecans, Mr. Bob and Miss Mary, for being a sponsor. Whaley Pecans for all your needs. I go in there to their gift shop. I get a sack full of goodies for Jody and other just surprising people from time to time. Of course, we have a daughter named Abby Lee, and she has a photography business. You can contact her at abbyleephotography.com. Lenny Trawick on the square in downtown Troy. He gives guitar lessons along with Cat Deal. They do it in the building of Flat Tops and Fiddles, right down from Bird's Drugs. We'll thank Donald Brown for being a sponsor. Also, the Brundage Country Club ran into Mr. Donnie Mobley today at Sisters, and want to thank the Country Club of Brundage for being a sponsor. Sticky Frogs, Miss Jennifer, located in Southland Village. When you see my truck, all those stickers, she made all my stickers. She'll make t-shirts, signs, whatever you need. Go see Jennifer at Sticky Frogs. State Farm Insurance. Like a neighbor, State Farm is there. See Bryant Smith on South Brundage Street. The Piggly Wiggly, they have 2 locations, North 3 Notch Street and US 231. Thank you, Steve and Jennifer Garrett. Also, the Chicken Shack in Luverne, I ate there a couple of nights ago. 335-6566. Thank you, Mike Money and his brother. The Old Barn Restaurant, I ate there Sunday for Easter dinner with my daughter Abby. That number is 484-3200. I want to thank Amy and her staff for being a sponsor at the Old Barn Restaurant. Signature Hair Designs, located on South Brundage Street. Miss Shirley Ellis, 566-7311. I want to thank Russ, Melanie, and Gibson Baker for being a sponsor. Raymond Lefford at Raymond Style and Barbershop on South Brundage Street. Mr. Brian McDaniels, downtown Brundage on the square. That business is, Jackson Hardware has been in business for about 100 years. Their number is 735-2773, located at 111 South Main Street in Brundage. Also, Miss Pretty Patel. She's the owner of the Pizza Palace there in Brundage, Alabama. Her number is 735-9555, located at 112 Main Street in Brundage. And Mr. Greg Meeks of Meeks Termite for being a sponsor. Dan Fraley Frames. A while back, Dan framed a picture of the Last Supper that my dad made when he was in the VA hospital in Tuskegee, Alabama. And it's a treasured piece, beautiful framery. They have 2 locations. They have one in Enterprise on Glover Avenue. That number is 347-4909. And they have a location in Troy on North 3 Notch Street. And that number is 566-6318. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special show. It's the Sipper Brothers, located on Sipper Hill. They live on Sipper Hill. They've got their old home place. One makes swings, the other makes homemade guitars. I met Mr. Tommy, Mr. K.O., and their brother Bob today. Just beautiful work, and words cannot describe what I saw today. It's unbelievable, and I want to thank Ava Jackson for filming it for me, and I look forward for that being on the show next week. And speaking of that, I want to thank Nate Braystead. He's in the booth. I want to thank Dustin Gilley and all the staff here at Troy Cable, and for what they do for this show. Our show comes to you live Mondays from 7 till 8. I want to thank Kitty and Jerry for being on the show. Our replays are Wednesday night starting at 9 o'clock. And ladies and gentlemen, if you could flash my card, Nate, if you would like to be a sponsor of the show, you could call me at the card that you see there. Hold that for me. There's my number, 268-0738. And there's my email address, forrestlee@troycable.net. That's my address, but you noticed I like the American flag and the state of Alabama flag. One thing about the American flag, I think it's a great place to live. We got some faults just like any other country. However, it means a lot to me because my father and all his brothers were in the military. Daddy was in the Navy and the Air Force. My brother Kenny, United States Marine Corps and the United States Army. And I served in the Army, in the National Guard of Alabama. And I would not give anything for that experience. It was a wonderful experience. Met a lot of great people, and some of my dearest friends I met through the Alabama Army National Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to tonight's show, and we'll see you next week for good news and interviews with Forrest Tree Lee. Thank you.